So Skip Bayless thinks nobody is buying tickets for their kids to go see Angel Reese play basketball. Well, here's a game with Asia Wilson and Angel Reese, the Las Vegas Aces versus the Chicago Sky, and they had 1.2 million people tune in to watch her play ball. So by the numbers, people are actually watching her play ball. And if we remember, they kicked off the season this year with Angel Reese versus Caitlin Clark for some reason because they know people tune in to watch both of these players, and they have them playing 5 times in one season. And they're not playing 82 games like the NBA; they're playing 44, and they have to play each other 5 times because it's good for TV because people watch. And just what was that? Earlier in the week, Chicago had over 19, I believe it was 19,000 people show up for their last game against the Fever, and there was no Caitlin Clark playing, so it's not solely because we wanted to see her play. Everybody knew she wasn't playing, but still, 19,000 people showed up to witness the first game inside of the NBA arena for the Chicago Sky. Most WNBA teams have access to the NBA team's gym because they're owned by the same people or same company, but not the Sky. So this was their first time, and there was no Caitlin Clark. It was just Angel Reese was the headliner of the game, and they still packed the place out. So people are coming, but let's not just take my word for it. There, let's move on. So July 11th, Chicago Sky versus New York Liberty at the Barclays Center. This game set a franchise record for the Liberty. They were playing against who plays for the Chicago Sky? Angel Reese plays for the Chicago Sky. So, in fact, 17,000 people, which broke the record for the Liberty, showed up to watch that matchup. The Liberty played games before that. They never had the 17,758. But when the Barbie came into town, that actually happened. The record was broken. So for you to sit here and start to push this agenda or this narrative that people aren't showing up, it's you picking on another person. You're hunting for your new LeBron. We seen you try it with Bronny. You're a fan of Dion and Shadur, so I don't think you're going to go that route with them. But now you're going to latch on to this Angel Reese, Caitlin Clark thing just to push more hate towards one player and to build up the other one. Same thing you did with Jordan and LeBron for the last 20 years. And to stay relevant, you're going to have to latch on to the biggest talking point in sports and bash one player like you've done. And LeBron has proved you wrong every time. And so you're trying it with the women to try to stay relevant and stay on TV. Nobody's picking you up, brother. What you're doing now is turning into Jason Whitlock. You're turning into that. That's what it looks like, the road you're headed down, to say anything, do anything to stay relevant. If this person was so bad and you guys dislike her game and all that, I have no idea why you would talk about this person so much. There's plenty of women that get cut from the league. There's plenty of women that are shooting 40% from the field. There's plenty of players that aren't performing well. All the sophomores this year from last year, all the sophomores are doing bad. Each and every one of them. Rakia, Angel, Caitlin, J.C. Sheldon, Camila Cardosa. Some players have been hurt and hasn't been. They've all been hurt too. They've all been hurt, and when they do play, everybody has had a tick down in their play. Caitlin's last 2 games, I think she shot 10%, 12% from the three. Angel is struggling finishing, and Camilla is so up and down, and Rakia shooting a terrible percentage from the field. JC is not performing, and there's one more player I can't remember. But all the sophomores are struggling right now, but we only want to focus on one person. Aaliyah Edwards is on that list as well. She's losing playing time to a rookie right now. But we're going to focus on one because that's all we know, because people like Skip don't care about the sport. This is all about narratives. This is about tabloids. I don't care about the sport. If you ask Skip, how do you feel about Aaliyah Boston and the Kiki situation, he wouldn't even know who we're talking about, right? So these are the people that get to push narratives. And all the narrative is let's tear down this one player in order to build up another player. And truthfully, I don't think they even care about building up the other player. It's more so let's just tear down this person because it's going to get us clicks. And so that's what we've been seeing nonstop in the content space on all the social apps. Is let's continue to tear down Angel. And this is just Skip's entryway into the sport that's growing the most. Everybody's trying it. Like I said, there's the fat boy Jason Whitlock is trying it, and we've seen RG3 jump into it, and got the most notoriety and clout he's had since since he stopped playing football. And that's just the new wave, is to jump on Angel Reese hate train. And there's people out there that's just not going to allow it to happen. We're going to stand up and we're going to say something every single time. So for you to say that nobody's watching, bro, let's talk about Chicago. They're up in ticket sales. They're up in viewership. She was number 2 in jersey sales as a rookie, all-star. All the big games included her, right? I know she played against her rival, if you want to call it a rival or not, but she is a part of that, and we can't take that away. That's all we're doing right now, is trying to take away her history, take away what she's done. And that's what we're doing now. It's like, hey, okay, she did what she did in college. She broke records as a rookie. She was an all-star as a rookie. The new year, let's erase all that. None of that ever happened. She's the only person that history has to get erased every day, right? Let's erase all that. So let's start tearing her down, because she's struggling like every other sophomore. She's just struggling at a different thing. She's struggling again, like I said, the last 2 games, and this is not a comparison. I don't do the comparison thing. I'm just saying it's happening. Aaliyah Edwards is losing her spot to a rookie. So we can talk about Aaliyah Edwards, Angel, and Caitlin Clark. Caitlin Clark, last 2 games, shot 20. Angel Reese has struggled from the field. Aaliyah Edwards has lost her spot to a rookie, Kiki. So let's just use those 3 people. Those sophomores are struggling. It's a thing called a sophomore slump. I didn't invent it. This isn't your first time hearing it. Sophomore slump is a thing, and they're going through it, and everybody needs. That's because you have to develop to get to the next level. I don't care how great you are. We watched LeBron come into the league, set the league on fire. I think he was like 20-5, 5 player. He had to grow to get to the next level. He had to develop some things in his game to get to the next level. Jordan had to do it. Kobe had to do it. Everybody goes through this. And what I'm saying is her counterparts, like I said, Aaliyah Edwards, Caitlin Clark, Camilla, Rakia, Cam can't even get on the court. They all going through it. They're all going through it. She's the only one we're highlighting. And now we're talking about, again, the silly conversation of viewership and attendance. What does that have to do with being a basketball player? Nothing. That wasn't even a thing. Do you think they were saying, oh man, Larry Bird had less people show up to his game than Magic Johnson? Do you think that was a conversation? Be for real. Even just the Steph Curry and LeBron James thing. Were we talking about who gets more people in the arena per game? No, we were talking about ball. But the problem about talking about ball with some of you people are, you don't want to admit that who your favorite is has things to work on. They have struggles. They're normal like every other player. Not even comparing to Angel. They have things working like Aaliyah. They have things working like Rakia shooting bad. But nobody wants to admit that, because it's going to make Angel seem just as human as the rest of the players, right? Tell me, when did Nafisa Collier just take over the league in her second year? No. People mainstream still aren't chanting her name. Mainstream still aren't talking about her skill set. And she's cold. And it's not happening, right? So we got to stop this bullying thing. It's deeper than basketball. You guys aren't doing it for basketball, because then do it to Aaliyah Edwards. Just do it to her. Let's take a break from Angel. Let's just do it to Aaliyah Edwards. So it's not about just being not a great basketball player in the moment. It's about who it is, and people are still offended about what happened when they were 20 years old playing in a college championship. That is what most people have a problem with when it comes to her. They say she thinks she's great. I ask them all the time, why don't y'all like her? Because she thinks she says she's a top player. She says she's better than she is. And I say, show me. And they say, well, here's a clip of her on the podcast a week after she won the national championship. And she said, they asked her, are you the best player in the world? Dog, she won the national championship, averaged 24 and 15, and won the tournament MVP. I think that person should believe they're probably the best player on the planet. And they beat the person that the consensus want her to say is better than her. She beat her in the championship, broke records. She just wasn't a fluke. She broke records, averaged 24 and 14. That person says, I'm the best player in the country. She has the right to feel that way. Now, since she's been in the pros, this is a different league. She hasn't said that. She said, I want to learn and I need to develop. I have a lot to work on, but I'm giving myself grace. These are all things she said. So the hatred is deeper than what people want to admit. And now Skip Bayless has jumped on the wagon. I'm AJ. This was my mic. Peace.